Mexicano and Oaxaqueño farm workers on the Central Coast. They taught me how to do that. And the youth too. I worked with a lot of their children who were really freaked out that, you know, certain chemicals were being used and that their parents were working in that, and they thought about how their asthma, their learning disabilities might be connected to where they lived and what their parents did, and you know, they couldn't just sit there and be like, oh well, you know, they did something about it. They did their research, they did their homework, and they got their hands dirty, and they did something very similar to what these kids did yesterday. Marched up the Watsonville City Hall parking lot and got them and a lot of other county and city governments to pass resolutions in support of their position, even though you can't do a lot at the city level to change state law or national law, but it's something, you know, at least says we're not okay with this, and we're not going to just let you get away with it. Poisoning our communities, poisoning our families and our teachers.
So just one, I have a lot of different questions, but one more follow-up. Thank you for sharing on that. So what role does the land play in all of that? So explicitly, as far as, because as I've heard you, people, cultures, land is all interconnected environment. And so, yes, and so it's all part of who we are and how we live with one another. So in what ways do you see land? How do you see land in your social, cultural, political, ecological, anthropological view?
Well, I do think we need different ways of managing and taking ownership of land. I think a lot of our problems come from private ownership. And I, you know, even though I'm in a position to own a house at some point, I don't know if I ever will, because the idea of it really scares me and makes me sad to think that, and angry to think that, you know, if I bought a house in my neighborhood, I live in Tower, you know, somebody else might have been living there that was displaced from that, you know, and that was their life. So I think we need different models of home ownership and land ownership, and maybe we don't own it, we steward it, you know, and we relearn how to do that, because we used to know, but we're forgetting, or we're not able to mobilize those because it's not in our control right now. But some of the most exciting social movements have to do with taking back land. And I have this book in my bed, you know, because I teach, and teaching, being a student is hard. It's hard work. It can be very challenging. You get mad because you have all that homework, but then we get to read it all and help you sift through it and make sense of it. And so I've had this book in my bed for like a year, and I haven't been able to finish it, but it's called Take Back the Land. And it happened in Florida, where this African American and Haitian community had just been displaced, and the homeless had just been displaced from this tent city. And they found this vacant piece of land, and they rebuilt a settlement on it, and were able to keep it going for about 6 months before it was bulldozed to build new condominiums. But even though it didn't last forever, it was really important for them to do that, to make a statement about this is what needs to be done. And then it's in the book, so it's not going away. We still have the memory of it to inspire our work in the future. There's a really cool movie I've talked to him about my ideas for movie nights here, now that you've got your nice pews back in here. And it's called Shift Change, and it's about cooperative economies. So everybody's sharing profits instead of having one CEO making millions of dollars and then the lowest paid employees making hundreds of % less than the highest paid. That's a big part of inequality. What if the highest paid employee and the lowest paid employee, the difference between them was only like 50%? That would make a huge difference in terms of how profits got distributed and the quality of life of the lowest paid or lowest ranked workers. And these models are happening. This is not idealism. This is reality. But it needs to be reproduced over and over and over again. And there's a lot of potential here to do that. You may, I hear Reverend Harris talks about, we don't have what Reverend Park has, but maybe that's not the best model for West Fresno, because that's just reproducing the same exploitative, low-wage, fast food, junk stuff that, you know, it's fun to visit, but like, it actually harms a lot of people up there too. The people that work in those places aren't the same people that go there and shop there, you know. So it's just something to think about. Like, what do you want your vision to be? You know, of course we want, you know, health and resilience and sustainability and good education for our kids and good food, healthy food, and time to cook it instead of, you know, having to go and buy the big pack of ramen because you work all the time and don't have time to cook, and or the fresh food rots faster. You know, there's a lot of retooling that I think needs to happen, and not just here, but a lot of places, especially if we want to preserve Mother Earth and everything else that's on it. Not just about us. You know, there's a lot hanging in the balance. These are not my ideas. These are just things that have inspired me and make me hopeful and thinking about the future of Fresno in general. And there's a lot happening, a lot of movements happening. Tomato workers in Florida were able to get a penny more per pound, and that may not seem like a lot, but when you're asked to pick X amount of pounds every day to make your quota, it adds up. And so doubling your wage is really significant, and they put a lot of pressure on, not on the growers, because the growers don't have a lot of control. They put the pressure on the supermarkets, like they're right where the money goes, and the fast food company chains, and you know, it would be amazing if that could be replicated in the Central Valley, although here it's the fists are holding the money bags a lot tighter, and the people are very set in their ways of how they grow food too, because that's what's familiar to them. Change is scary, but you know, we have a lot to lose by not thinking about what needs to change. And I think, you know, in my conversations today with the folks from the food commons, they indicate that because of the drought and a lot of other factors, people are starting to question the way things are done, even if it's just, again, that little ant step. It's something.
Thank you. Can we give a round of applause?
You know, one of the things that when our black folk came from the south to the west coast, Colonel's Islands were built the city, first black city in California. Now it's just a historical park, which I still can't figure out why black folk can't come together, all these millionaires, and reestablish the city that he built. But anyway, down in that area, Paisley and our pastor talked about it, the water in that area has a high dosage of arsenic in it. Livingston, all that area, I can't think all of those cities right now, but all that area where black folks had settled in. And so when our children and our ancestors and our elders go down there and drink that water, they become sick. It's poison in their body. They become sick. And so they have to push water in with water bottles to the preschool so that they can be able to drink. The little babies have nice water to drink. And so, you know, so if it's not affecting you, it's affecting someone else here in California. And so that's why we try to educate our folks and bring folks together. And I always say that, you know, sadly to say, not all people, but some folks don't care until it happens to them. And we got to get out of that mindset. You know, we should care before it happens to them, because we are our brothers and sisters keeper. Thank you, Doug. We appreciate it, and your students who came today. We look forward to working with you, and also the Black Farmers Association. Looking forward. Thank you for bringing the farmers from Madeira back. And, not from Madeira. The founders from Madeira.
Yes.
Right, the founders from Madeira. But we just look forward to having to work with
and to understand there are companies that do it purposely, all in the name of the Father. That's why it's important for each and every one of us to understand here at New Life. We do what we do because we believe that we have strong faith. We don't do things crookedly. We don't do things manipulatively, nor do we do things in the wrong way. We strive to be righteous in all that we do. Even though the world is not that way, God does not love the world, but He loves you, and He wants you and me to love Him, and to do all that we do in a decent and orderly fashion to make the difference in our communities. So we thank our speaker for coming and sharing that magnificent information and for setting the record straight, because that is the course that we here in New Life is going on, and that is bringing knowledgeable people in this church so that they can enlighten us on the things that's happening in our community. And as we do this, it's required of all of us to grab a hold of our friends, our neighbors, our associates, so that they too can hear and learn what is happening in their lives, so that their lives can move forward as our lives move forward. Information has to be shared, people, and that's why we've done so much to bring all of this into reality, that we have a very comfortable and peaceful place to where positive information can be shared, and that those of us who are older and those of us who are young may learn the same information and work to improve our lives here in Fresno, California, making a difference and making us healthier as we move forward. Amen? Amen.
All right. Now, brothers and sisters, we're going to open the church doors. Anyway. That's our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Tomorrow's not promised. This is the time. The last day. Amen. Let us all stand. Each one of us stand. We're not let the Savior pass by. As we not against the Savior.
Let us sing the song.
Hear my home, O God.
God has brought
Wow.
valuable information to us, and He has given us the ability to hear and to absorb.
Savior,
That's how good He is.
now